Here's the thing though, if you're holding render, it's always a good idea to sell half so that you don't put your head in the sand and say, I've lost too much, I can't possibly sell here. Sell a little bit so that you can buy it back lower and raise your or lower your average cost. See, amateurs, they're like, I'm going to buy some of this, I'm going to sell it. Professionals, they'll build positions and ease out of positions. All right, what do we have there? We have some support here because it wicked down here before. Let's see what our indicators show. Kind of some sloppy, this is sort of the nuance. Render technically green, but the signal line, it's zigzaggy. It's not like a strong rebound. And the TSI did go green, but rejected. Here's a nuance. Can't always do this or rely on that, but you can draw trend lines in some of these. And I'd be careful not to draw lines in the sand, but that's kind of a weak signal there. Weekly, the only bullish-ish thing, which isn't enough, is the TSI is becoming oversold. What you can do though is you come in here and set an alert on that, add alert. There's two things. You can say when it turns green, that's when we first get our first chevron. When you first buy these, there'll be circles, I think. I changed mine to the chevron, but the alert is based on the default. So when it first turns green on a weekly, that's an early signal. So here I'll say green TSI weekly render, and that's kind of pay attention. But really the confirmation is above 20. And if you have one at or above 20, usually that'll cycle all the way up. So here you would go and say add alert on TSI Pro crossing up to above 20, right? And then that would be this alert. So that's for how I would do render. But you'd want to see an ERI precede that. Okay, so what you would need here is a nice candle up. Now it's based on velocity, and I can't tell you the details, but when these trigger, it signifies programmatic buying and selling. The big boys are buying, I believe, because it requires, for this to print, it requires a move. Here's the actual indicator, but you don't want to look at that, do you? Right? But what it shows is coming off of a low point back above 20 within 3 time periods requires enough velocity, speed, and money that I believe that's programmatic buying, okay, in heavy. Retail's not moving it that much. So that's the deal. But we don't really keep that one hidden. So that's render. Anything else? See, Hector saying, do the green block also indicates the market maker? No, not necessarily the market maker. I mean, the market maker can buy and sell from itself, so they might be a party to that. But this can be anybody. This is buyers in mass and money flow. So, if we were to put a money flow indicator on it, it's peaking at a point that could, this again isn't likely going to be retail. It's going to be institutions. Maybe it's the IBIT, not on render, of course, but institutional money, hedge funds, whatever, more than average. And these are good because typically the midpoint on these holds. So with that in mind, render I think is pretty safe if it comes down to 280. That's your downside. But without seeing buy blocks here, I might have that turned off. Okay, but we only have sellers. We don't have any buyers on render. Ugh. Yeah, I think render is a good project for AI. It's just here's the bottom line is none of these, they're all pure speculation. They don't have revenues, they don't have customers, and I hear customers are good for business. Keep that in mind. These are all pure speculation, and they're all going to bleed out 90% in the bear. We're not there yet. We're still early internet. So on this bearish engulfing candle on render, I would probably sell half here. This is likely to come back down to $2.84 as a habit. If you can sell some on a weakness, now this could recover end of day, but I don't think so. I would sell half here, not financial advice to you individually by educational purposes only. I can give buy sell recommendations as one to many, not one to one. So based on this chart, I would say this is broken support. I would sell a portion of this trade and look to buy back lower at support. and or when one of these other signals goes green. That's how you trade these markets, you guys. Minimize your losses and don't stand around with your head in the sand.